the way that we want people to recognize that Key Mortgage Group logo.
We try to minimize as many of those as we possibly can.
What your goals are, what you want to accomplish.
Talk with a professional.
Hey everyone, welcome. This is the first episode of what I would like to call my podcast. I'm sure you guys have been seeing, but I've been kind of toying around with this format of content for a little bit here. Done a lot of stuff on my own for a while, just kind of, speaking and giving tips and tricks on how to kind of perfect the home buying process, and wanted to start this out now, bringing in some guests and really giving them a platform to share their story, share the why they do what they do, so on and so forth. So today I'm actually really pleased to be joined with my my branch manager, Louie Wickett. He's here with us today, and what our vision is with this first episode is to give some insight into Key Mortgage Group, why we do what we do, who we are, and what is kind of the core values behind our group. So, Louie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, excited to be on here, and hopefully it gives you a deeper look at what we're about here at Key Mortgage Group and the kind of people that work here. So.
Absolutely. No, I think that's the unique thing about this podcast format, rather than just doing reels and all that kind of scripted stuff. Is this is just so much more organic, and it kind of gives us the opportunity to just be who we are, right? And
Absolutely.
that's really what we want to get out there is, instead of having to schedule coffee meetings and lunch meetings with everybody, this is really a deeper dive into who we are as human beings, and frankly, mortgage advisors and your trusted experts in the home buying experience as well. So, Louie, to kind of start things off, I'd love to have you kind of share just, some context or background on how our group got formed, kind of how we got to where we're at today, maybe some background on yourself, kind of your mortgage background, obviously our relationship and how, we've worked together, so on and so forth. So just kind of start there, and we'll kind of develop into the episode from there.
Yeah, and I'll go back to myself and how I started. That kind of bleeds into how we formed here in Des Moines. But I've been doing mortgages since 2014. Started at Wells Fargo, like many of us in the mortgage industry. Learned a lot there, but knew there was something bigger for me as far as getting out. Wells Fargo, it's a big company. I wanted something a little bit smaller. Found a great opportunity to do mortgages for the John Deere family. My wife and I, we moved over to the Quad Cities. She got into PA school there, so it was kind of one of those things where, with her being in PA school, I knew that I had to be the provider for my family, and so I just went 100% all into this career. When I first got in it, I didn't know if I would be in it forever. It was just kind of a great opportunity at the time, and fell in love with it. So I was doing loans for the John Deere family over in the Quad Cities. That's where I crossed paths with our boss now, John Cornish. He was a top producer in the Quad Cities. He had been a top producer for years at that point. And it was just, we hit it off from the start, and it became more of a friendship before it ever bled into recruiting or anything like that. He actually opened the Pearl office. That was our previous company in Des Moines before I was even ever a part of the group. I introduced him to a few relationships, including yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how we started in Des Moines. Pearl, we loved working for them, but they had sold to a bigger company. And we, had to make a decision if we wanted to go to the company at the bottom or look for new opportunities, because, we knew we had a special group, and we wanted to stay together and do a good job for the local market. So that's where we formed the Key Mortgage Group, powered by Homeside Financial. It's been a great relationship since we've joined that group. That was in 2019. And ever since that point, we've created a lot of relationships in this market. We've done a lot of deals, and we still have that group that is stuck together between here in Chicago and South Carolina. Just a lot of good people. It really doesn't matter what company we're at. We know that we all have the same goal in mind. That's to take care of people, build good relationships, and have good referral partners and do good for them. So.
Totally. No, I think that you hit the nail on the head there with kind of the MO behind our brand, the way that we want people to recognize that Key Mortgage Group logo. And that's why we started that individually rather than being represented by the brand of our actual loan company. We started this Key Mortgage Group brand because we want people to understand what that means, right? And it's the heart behind what we do and how we do it. So we want to execute at a very high level. We want to provide value, and we want to build quality relationships with quality people and grow together. And that's what we really hope that people feel that when they work with our group. And we want it to be across the board, right? It's not just Louie's team. It's not just my team. Obviously, all of our loan officers here, locally have different relationships, different referral partners. But we hope it's a consistent brand across the board because we really do try to do things all about the same way. So
absolutely. And I think that's when we're recruiting loan officers to come here, I have them meet everybody because I want it to be a good fit because it is like a little family.
It is.
Spend a lot of time with your coworkers, and we want to have that great reputation across the board because that could affect all of our businesses.
Right.
So that's really a big ticket item when we are recruiting. And if loan officers reach out and they're interested, I definitely want them to meet the crew.
Totally. And I think that's an important point too, because, frankly, we want to grow, right? We want to do more. We want to help more people. And obviously at a certain point, the only way to do that is to bring on more bodies, have more loan officers a part of our group. But like you said, it has to be the right fit. It has to be, someone who understands the way that we grow, the way that we work, the way that we want to make an impact. So I guess to that point, if you guys have any interest or if there's any loan officers listening to this, we'd love to have a conversation with you and just see if it would be the right fit for you. So
absolutely. You can reach out anytime. And whether you work for me or you don't, I want to see this industry grow the right way with the right people doing the right things. So always willing to give my 2 cents or my advice to any loan officer out there that is looking for it. I still get advice from local loan officers and national loan officers as I'm in coaching. So I think if we all do a good job at helping each other out and growing the right way and giving good ideas, it's only going to make this industry more respectable.
100%. Kind of diving in a little bit more to what at least we would think that makes Key Mortgage Group different. In my opinion, that kind of really starts with two things. One is it, and really they're kind of the same, but it's the experience, right? And how they experience the loan process with our teams. Dive a little bit into, from the client and the real estate agent perspective, what little things do you see our group doing on a regular basis that kind of sets that experience apart?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it goes back to something so simple. It's just doing what you say you're going to do. If you tell the client you're going to call them back, you call them back. If you tell the agent you're going to call them every Tuesday, you call them every Tuesday, and make sure that you hit that every single week and execute. I think there is a lot of lip service in our industry as far as, how great your company is or how great your process is. Well, it comes down to really showing them and doing what you say you're going to do.
Totally.
That's setting right expectations with both the borrower and the agent. Expectations creates a good experience. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a tougher file, but as long as you set those expectations at the front on exactly what needs to take place to execute.
Yep.
As long as everybody's in the know on that and you communicate throughout the process, I mean, it should go as expected.
And I think to kind of expand on that too, it comes down to doing a lot of that hard work up front. I think that for our realtor partners and for our clients that work with us, you'll see a pretty consistent thing across the board where almost all of us are doing a significant amount of the due diligence when it comes to approving the loan before we even give a pre-approval. And why that's important is because we want to make sure that this process is very, very smooth for our clients. And so whenever there's a little bit of a moving part or any type of variable that we could see with the loan process, if you get a Key Mortgage Group pre-approval, we've already checked that. We've already looked at those items and identified potential issues that could come up in the loan process. Why that's so important is because, again, we just want to perfect that process and ensure when we're sending out these pre-approval letters from our group, that we're going to get to the closing table and it's going to be smooth. So, hopefully you guys see that across the board when you work with us, and that's something that is super important to us.
100%. And like Brady said, we're collecting everything up front. There are still one-off things that
Of
could
course.
come up in a file. We try to minimize as many of those as we possibly can by collecting as much as possible up front. And that comes back to expectations with the client and with the agent. If they need a quick pre-approval, we're not just going to give a quick pre-approval to give a quick pre-approval. We want to collect documents from that client, review it in detail. That we can still get that done quickly, but we're not going to jeopardize our reputation for a quick pre-approval. We want to make sure it is in detail and we're looking out for things that could come up down the road.
Well, and to that point too, from the real estate agent's perspective, really we're doing that to protect their brand as well, right? Because when we're referred over a client from a real estate agent, we want to make sure that we're essentially an extension of their business, right? And the last thing you want to do from a real estate agent's perspective is send a client to a lender, have them execute this crazy fast pre-approval without actually doing any due diligence, and then have the situation, get missed or, blow up or whatever it may be. Really, we want to make sure that we are, like I kind of said, extending the service that a real estate agent would want to provide for their client and just making it a slam dunk all the way through. And our goal is that by the time that the deal's closed, everything went great, everybody's happy, you're moving into this new home. And then by then, because we both executed at a high level for that client, they're going to be willing to refer their friends and family our way. That's really kind of the vision behind that referral process. And I think that's kind of frankly, a lost art right now is kind of the art of referring and how to refer well. Because again, it has to be a team effort. And when we're all working together to accomplish the same goal, it can go so much smoother.
Absolutely.
So no, that's great. Kind of on that point too, and kind of along that real estate agent, kind of category, I guess, per se, I think it's no secret that mortgage lenders, a lot of our business is affiliated or comes from referrals from real estate agents. What I would say from our group that we want to make sure is clear is that we don't ever want to be seen as a vendor, if that makes sense. And we don't want to seem as though we're quote unquote like begging or desperate for business. The way that we've approached those relationships is really providing value and adding to that real estate agent or that referral partner, whether it's a realtor or really any other sector of business that we get referrals from. We want to add value, right? And so could you touch on some of the things and the ways that our group tries to pour into our partners to help them grow? Any specific examples you could share there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes back to being intentional in your conversations and your meetings. Anytime you have contact with one of your partners, if you don't leave them with something of value, I feel like you're dropping the ball a little bit. A lot of people will set up those meetings, set up those phone calls, and not really have a plan of action in place. I think it just comes down to, for real estate agents, my number one goal is to save you time and make you more money. And I think that across the board, and that's by doing a good job for clients, getting those referrals, because that's what will keep you in this business long term. If you're transactional, the chances of you lasting through some of the markets that we're going, similar to the market we're going through right now, it's not good. So if we can provide value to our agents with education when it comes to mortgage, lead generation, whatever it may be, we're going to come with something of value to make you a better real estate agent and to enhance our relationship with you, because we want you to look as us as maybe the financial quarterback for your clients, for yourself, and that's what creates that true team of real estate agents and mortgage professionals. So.
Totally, and I think that along that path, it's funny when you sit down with a real estate agent for the first time, it's not uncommon where, when you ask them and you say, hey, what are you looking for in a mortgage lender, right? And I would say the most common response I've ever gotten is communicate well and close on time, right? And the way that our group views that is like, that should be the bare minimum. Like that is literally our job. We're in the positions that we are when we receive the clients that we work with to communicate well and close on time. To us, we kind of see that as a bare minimum per se. We want to do other things to help you grow your business, host events, pour into you with different values, tips, and tricks on how to help you grow, even beyond just simply closing loans and giving pre-approvals quickly and all the bare minimums. We really want to make sure that we're seen as that group that cares a lot and cares enough to continue to add value into your group. So I think that's something important that I wanted to make sure to drive home.
I think another thing on that too is we're always trying to provide value to the clients as well.
Yes, agreed.
Before, during, and after the transaction. And I feel like a lot of places out there, it's like I said, it's transactional. They want to close the deal and move on to the next one. We want to create relationships. We want our past clients to reach out to us anytime anything financial comes up. They know they can reach out to us, and we can at least get them in the right direction of someone that they can trust.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that kind of goes, it can be as simple as a question about escrow. It can be as complex as a refinance or a new home sale.
Financial advisor.
Yeah, I mean, it can be insurance, financial advising. Really, we want to be just a genuine resource that's well connected in many industries that we can just add value to you as clients. And that's the beauty of that, is that we have those connections. And rather than you having to call and wait on hold, with your servicer or whatever it may be, reach out to us first. We can kind of give you tips, tricks, advice on how to succeed. And frankly, a lot of our clients are really great at that. But we don't ever want you to feel intimidated to reach out or anything like that. We want you to know that we're here for you. And that goes long beyond your original closing date.
For sure.
So, just kind of touching on kind of the state of the union per se, a little bit about the market right now, kind of what we're facing. We've been doing this for, what would we say, 8 to 10 years or so by now. We've seen kind of a couple of varieties of different markets per se. Give us some insight into, from a client perspective, what does it look like, from buying a home and refinancing? What's your advice to the average client right now that would be potentially considering that?
Yeah. So, to anyone buying right now or thinking about buying, their main concern is interest rates, because that's what's in the news. That's all they hear about. Whenever someone thinks about mortgages, they think about rates. Rates have caused payments to go up substantially. We know that. That's a fact. It is what it is. Anyone that is looking at buying, whether rates are at 2% or 10%, it shouldn't matter. You need to be comfortable with the monthly payment. And some people that are on the fence, that haven't ran numbers or talked with a professional, I would highly recommend just reach out. Let's have a conversation, see where payments are at. It might be out of your comfort zone and you might want to wait. But if you can get into a payment range that you're comfortable with, no matter what the rate is, I do think there will be a great opportunity in the near future to refinance and lower that payment. But I'm very clear on, it's not promised that you'll be able to refinance. It's not promised that rates are going to go lower. But I am a big believer that in the next 36 months, there's going to be a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So
could even be a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that after 2018, 2019, and then 2020 and 2021, when rates dropped multiple times, I had multiple people refinance. Yep. So the refinance process, very similar to when you buy. Basically, we're just going to pay off your current debt at a lower rate or lower term, as long as it makes sense for you. The important factor there is when you're going to break even on the money that you pay to refinance. So those are all things that we will stay in touch with you about. We'll send monthly home reports out to show you your equity position, national average rates, a lot of good information, just keep you in the loop on the market environment that you're in. But it just comes down to, what are your goals? What are you comfortable paying monthly? Are you a renter? Rents are going up too. I own multiple investment properties. You own an investment property. Rents are going up. Taxes have gone up. Cost of living has gone up. So landlords are increasing rents to make up for that. So my big thing is, just write down your 5-year goals. If you're going to be in the same spot for the next 5 years and you're renting, at least look at your options for buying, because you're going to be out that money if you rent for the next 5 years. So just something to think about. And I'm never coming from a place of, hey, you need to buy now. It's the right time, buy now. It's more so, if you are thinking about moving and you're comfortable with the payment and you have cash on hand for a down payment, and we have down payment assistance programs as well, at least look into it so you know your options. A lot of people that think they can't buy, would be surprised. After they go through the process, we might need to tweak just a couple things with credit to get you qualified, but you might be closer to home ownership than you think.
And I think it all starts with that conversation, right? So simply just reaching out, having that conversation so we can really chat with you about your goals. Because really that's what it comes down to for us is we're not just going to give you a letter and say, hey, here's your max approval amount. Really, we're going to dive in deep to what your goals are, what you want to accomplish, not only right now, but in the future, right? Are you planning on having a family down the road? Are you, newly dating? Are you married? There's a lot of different things, that we have to look at from a planning standpoint, and also knowing and understand that life changes, right? Situations happen. And so you can't necessarily know or feel the pressure that you have to make this decision that's going to last 30, 40 years, knowing and understanding this is kind of most likely going to be a very short-term loan. Even though the loans we originate are probably most commonly 30-year notes, it's still a short-term situation that we're looking at there, but it all comes back to those goals and making sure that you're comfortable moving forward, both with the monthly payment, regardless of what rate is. And frankly, the other aspect of that is cash to close. So, but again, it just comes back to starting that conversation. So
100%. Another thing that I would just like to warn especially first time home buyers, there is a lot of bait and switch stuff going on right now.
Totally.
With online companies or just the rates that they advertise. There is a ton of fine print on how that company is getting to that rate. Mm-hmm. So I would just highly recommend talk with a professional. I hope that's one of us here at Key Mortgage Group, but talk to a true pro that has put in the time, local, they know the market, so they can educate you on where things are at, because there's a lot of misinformation out there right now, and mortgage companies are struggling. So when mortgage companies are struggling, they're going to do desperate things online to grab your attention. And I think it's just important to do your due diligence and get with someone that's a true professional.
Yeah. And some context into that really is what he means by that is that there's a lot of things that determine what rate we can actually offer you. So if a company is just promising you a rate by a flyer or an email or whatever it may be, without actually doing due diligence into your scenario, getting an actual application in place, getting a credit report pulled, verifying income, assets, credit, all of those factors actually determine what rate we can offer. And it's just important to make sure that the person you're working with is doing their due diligence before quoting that rate, and also understanding what goes into that and determining that. How much costs are you paying? There's a lot of factors there. One thing that I would say that sets us apart that we do different than a lot of places is we actually are very thorough with our review process of those documents and the rates we offer you. So an example is we all will film a custom video for you going through your loan estimate, breaking down everything line by line. Your purchase price, your loan amount, how much you're putting down, what your closing costs are, what your rate is, what your payment is. We want to be thorough with the information we're giving you, making sure you're making an educated decision before you move forward with any loan type. That's so important to all of us at Key Mortgage Group, and we want to make sure you're comfortable. Not a lot of places are doing that. So make sure you're getting the education and the actual information before making your decision on who you're going to move forward with. Louie, just to kind of finish things up, I want to kind of leave the viewers and the audience with just kind of what you're excited for with the future to come. Obviously, there's still a lot of unknown in the nature of the mortgage world, what rates are going to do, things like that. Here's the thing that we've decided is we can't control what rates do. What can we control, and what are things that we're excited about as a group, as an individual? What are you looking forward to coming forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm most excited about is our whole group is working on bettering themselves right now. And when a lot of people, and I've had those days where you're down and out and, wondering, going a little crazy with how the market is.
Yeah.
But most of our loan officers do coaching with, some great coaches that's for business, for life, for mortgage. And when people can pour into themselves in a market like we're in right now and invest in themselves, that makes me excited, because that's not easy to do. And I don't know a lot of people, at least in our market, that do coaching. And I think we're bringing that stuff. Every Monday we do a sales call with all of our loan officers in the Midwest. And we bring a ton of good ideas from different coaches that everybody uses. and we put that into one, and we work on scripting, we work on, how to take better care of our clients, take better care of our real estate agents. So it just makes me really excited that with the times that we're going through, people are still investing in themselves, investing in their partners. Um, and that carries over to outside of work too. It's made me a better friend. It's made me a better dad, a better husband. So, those are all things that make me excited with our group as a whole. For the real estate industry, real estate always gets me excited. I think long-term real estate is the answer for growing your wealth. It's the number one wealth building tool out there. So it makes me excited that there's still a ton of opportunity out there. It's doom and gloom when you look at the news and everything, but there is a ton of opportunity in real estate, to whether it be single family, multifamily. If you want to look at investing, there's just a lot of opportunities out there that can help you grow, help your net worth grow, and real estate over time will appreciate.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I think that's a huge value add, and really what our heart is at the end of the day, and why we're doing this episode, why we're starting filming this series, is really we want to add that value. We want you to feel educated and get that inside look into the heart behind why we do what we do. And if you've made it to this part of the video, frankly, thank you for listening. I'll do you all a favor and include Louie's contact information in the information below. I'll tag all of his socials. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you guys have questions, comments, anything. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love the feedback. We want to do more of these. If you guys have any interest in coming on an episode, we'd love to have you. So thanks again, Louie, for joining. We look forward to doing many more and pouring into our people here in many episodes to come. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.